I have fiddleheads, which are not only important ceremonially, but part of our food system. The way that I was taught was that our designs are meant to teach about medicines and foods, and that they came from that, partly just because like when you live outside and you look around, you're gonna make your art look like what you see. But during the time when our medicines and foods were outlawed, that people would design those and put them on there as this way to be like, this is what this looks like. Don't forget what this looks like. Bonjour, Sarah Agaton Howes, Nindijnaka Jaganashimo. So my English name is Sarah Agaton Howes. And Naokwegi Indigo, my Anishinaabe name is Naokwegi. And I'm from Fond du Lac in Minnesota, and my business is Heartberry. When my son was little, started doing more stuff while he was occupied, like the little 5 minutes I'd bead something or sew something while he was busy, and people started asking me to make stuff for them, and my list just started getting longer and longer. And a couple of people, mentors in my community like Wendy Savage, were like, people need to know how to do this stuff, not you doing it for them. And I kind of struggled, like at first. I love the feeling of seeing somebody like walking through like the powwow and that they're like wearing something I made. Like it's like the most rewarding experience. But what I didn't know was that teaching people would be that, but times like 100. So I have the moccasin book, which is an actual pattern book with instructions, both in Ojibwe and English. And we have online tutorials. Because part of the whole idea for me and working with Michelle Defoe as my apprentice is that we want to just create as many tools as possible to support makers. When I started thinking about what was the common thread that had carried all the way through all the work that I had been doing, and it was the strawberry. And in Ojibwe, strawberry is Ode Min, and Ode is your heart, and Min is berry. And one of my aunties and mentors, Roxanne DeLille, was like, you know why you like that strawberry? And she's like, we're the people of the Heartway. And she would tell me all this cool stuff. And I was like, oh yeah. And so I was like, I think I wanted the business to be called Heartberry. And it just was like, yes.
She's inspiring. So when I first heard of Sarah, she was doing a t-shirt that said Thrive on it with Ojibwe floral. And I was like, oh, can you tell me a little bit about that? And she got into, like, we don't want to keep struggling and we don't want to just survive. We want to thrive. We want to be better than what's happening now, what's happening historically. And it clicked with me.
So March 9th, I came back from doing a residency in Banff, which was like this amazing, incredible opportunity, and then it was like, boom, life changed just like that. Normally we're at powwows, we're traveling all around, but it's really different based on what we're doing. So right now, we're in the summer of 2020, so we're not traveling anywhere. All the plans we had set up for residencies, teaching, traveling, all changed. And that feels like a million years ago now, because now it's July, right? But right away, sales completely stopped. And I got really scared. And then I had also, during that time, just did a major construction to build the HQ. I had just hired a second employee. And so it was kind of like, well, I've already committed to these things. So it's a really different feeling to have people relying on you for their income. And before that, I had just had like seasonal employees. So people were kind of like, just jump in wherever. And this was like, they were actually counting on me to pay their bills. So I was like, I'm gonna have to adapt and improvise and think of something different So Hannah was gonna be the pop-up manager and do inventory, and now I'm like, well, what do you think about like doing social media and marketing and anything else that I always need help with? And she's just like, yeah. But part of what I've seen is like, this is like, as like Anishinaabe people, we have to adapt constantly. And so this is something that I'm like, okay, I know how to do this. I can adapt.
I do miss pop-up shops. So I think part of that is a lot of our pop-up shops were at powwows. So traveling locally, visiting a bunch of people, is just off the table for the near future. But then the shipping opportunity happened, and I was like, yeah, why not?
There's this whole universe of images that we see, of products that we see, of murals that we look at, of posters and walls and shirts that we look at, that if we're not designing those as Native artists, who's designing those? Whose story is getting told? Who's benefiting from that? So we need to be doing that, because I think that also provides an alternative to cultural appropriation. You know, if we want to critique cultural appropriation, then we have to like also be the alternative for it. I work with the Inspired Natives Project, which is part of 8th Generation, and I have a mentor through there whose name is Louis Gong, who's like super amazing.
I started off just drawing on shoes, and I recognized that wasn't a good way to make a living, so I started teaching myself how to make products, and over time I started teaching other staff people how to do it. And so now what happens at 8th Generation is the design work happens upstairs, and then downstairs we have Native people who came to 8th Generation without any information about how to do art, how to operate a laser or UV printer, or how to work with Adobe Illustrator, actually making the products with skills that they've learned here on the job.
When he contacted me, if he would have said to me, I want to buy one piece of art from you and I'm going to make these blankets out of it, I would have been like, oh my gosh, that's incredible. Yes, because that's what a lot of companies do, right? But instead, he was like, if you want to build a website, you want to learn how to do digital art, you want to build your own business, I will help you with that process. And he didn't have to do that. And I am grateful for that every day. So that project is called the Inspired Natives Project. And I really got in there like at a good time when it was really growing, which is great. But that's transformed my life. Like in every way, being a part of the Inspired Natives Project has changed the trajectory of probably my children's lives, of my employees' lives, of my apprentices' lives. Like that's how powerful somebody with a really strong vision who shined a light on something and was like, this is what's possible, Sarah. My hope would be that we would continue to grow, but also to be not just grow more stuff, but that we would learn more skills all the time. We would become more sovereign as a business, meaning we would be able to do more of the work ourselves, that I would be able to hire more people, so it would grow to the point where I can hire a business manager and hire, and do all those layers so that I could focus on art, I could focus on relationships, because I love people and relationships. Like it is my jam 100%, which is why COVID is so hard.
Having visual representation of cultures, especially if it's cultures that are reflected from your community, by your community, I think is really important. And supporting local artists is one way that we can see those kind of murals and that big public visual representation of who's living here.
I want to do cultural art while also I want to make really cool, fun stuff that people just want to wear and just want to have in their house. Like, this is a super cool shirt, I just want to rock this. I love that too. And I want to make huge like murals that cover walls. Like I want to do everything, which is why I need people, because I have like, let's make this, let's make that. Like I love to make stuff and I love to have things exist that didn't exist before.